episode 71 of the Board Game Geek podcast, where we geek out about board games, the mechanisms behind them, and the people who create them. I'm your host, Candace Harris, and I am super excited to be here today with my good friend, Ruel Gaviola. And I was wondering, because I see Ruel everywhere. Like, I see you on Good Time Society. I've seen you on, like, Rado's channel. Like, you stream. What are you up to these days, and how are you doing, my friend?
Good to see you, Candace. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm all over the place. I've always been one of the type of people that, you know, if you stay busy, you stay out of trouble. So I like to stay busy, and for the most part, I stay out of trouble. But I'm doing fantastic. Again, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Excited to be here and talk about games with you.
Same. I know, like, we both live in the LA area, but we rarely see each other. Sometimes we brush shoulders at, like, Strategicon.
Yeah.
But I've been wanting to, like, have you on for, I think we talked last year at Gen Con when we bumped into each other.
Yeah.
But
and that's the running joke, right? With all of us content creators in Southern California, we need to go out of state to actually hang out with each other.
Yes.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to hang out virtually today.
Yes.
You know, you mentioned Strategicon, Candace. I just wanted to, I had mentioned this. I went to a con this weekend in Burbank, California called LFG Con. And Strategicon has been around forever in LA, right? Terrific con.
Yes.
But there's this new one, and it was awesome. I had the best time there. It was fantastic. Yeah.
I was wondering about it because I think Bonzinator told me that she would be going to that, and I had never heard of it until like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And actually, like, a friend of a friend who designed a kids game reached out to me just to ask, like, how do I get this out there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, there's this thing going on in Burbank this weekend. If you're around, you should go check it out and mingle. And he said it was awesome too. So
cool.
How did it, I mean, besides the fact that it's not at the Hilton LAX,
That's
that's it.
That's the number one thing.
Anything's an improvement.
That right. If you've never been to Strategicon, like great people run it. It's a wonderful experience, but that hotel leaves a lot to be desired is all I'll say.
Yes.
The Burbank Marriott, 100% upgrade over everything. Like, Candace, I didn't have to go underground to park, and I didn't have to park in like the, in the middle of an aisle or anything. It was amazing.
Oh, you didn't have to play the parking game before you got to the convention?
Right. No parking games whatsoever. The parking was adjacent to the convention hall. I walked less than 2 minutes to get from my car to the exhibit hall. It was amazing.
That's awesome. Now, was this at the same hotel that they did? Remember that Kubla Khan did tested out having one in Burbank years ago?
I think it is, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% because I didn't go, but I remember hearing about that. But yeah, the space worked well. The folks running the convention were terrific. They're all like local business owners, and one of them owns Gaming Grounds in Chatsworth. It's a terrific board gaming cafe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so once I knew he was involved, okay, I love your cafe. I think I'm going to love this convention, but we'll see. But yeah, I did see Bonds. We did a content creator panel together, and It was terrific, and the people were great. I think this is going to be, I hope they come back again next year because, LA is a big place. We could always use another convention.
Yes.
That's just my opinion.
Yes, I totally agree. So was it, in terms of like comparing it to Strategicon, like were there tournaments, like vendor hall, open gaming, or how was it kind of structured?
It was pretty much very similar in those aspects. Just everything was, because it's the first year, everything's a little smaller scale. But they did have a really nice open gaming area, which I spent most of my time at. They had across the way, like that was like the main convention hall. Then you would cross a courtyard, go to the main hotel, and that's where they had the panels. They had RPG rooms. They also had tournaments as well. There was a national qualifier for Catan there, so someone got their entry into that.
Cool.
There was some Lorcana tournaments and TCG room as well. It was a smaller scale, but I really hope this thing takes off because it was wonderful.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I hope to like actually be able to go next year. But
Yeah.
again, I didn't even know about it until like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's right. That's the challenge of any
Yeah.
new project or convention is really getting the word out. But I truly believe just the positivity that I experienced there and other folks that I ran into, the word of mouth will really build hopefully for next year.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad you mentioned that because I was kind of curious about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think you
I
dig
hope it comes back. Yeah,
I do too.
yeah.
I do
I
too.
mean, you have food options nearby.
Yeah, there was definitely more food options. There's not just like a Carl's Jr. across the street or whatever. And they actually had a different food truck every day show up at the next to the convention hall. So they had the Kogi truck. So we had Korean short rib tacos. It was amazing. Really cool space.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And did they have like a game library, or did people just mostly like bring their own?
They did. Yeah, they did have a game library. It was not as extensive as other conventions, of course, but they had plenty of stuff there. Like a lot of new games were there, and they had some of the classics as well. So, but of course, as a new convention, most people brought their own games, which is great. And I got to demo some new games as well. So it was a real treat.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I am just coming. We were kind of talking before about how it's just been busy. I've been on the go so much this year. And on episode 69, I had on Penelope from Penelope Gaming, and I was talking about a trip to France. After that, like my mom came to visit, which was great. I always love when she comes to LA and I get to show her some new games. But I've been really busy working on a video that I put out covering Ticket to Ride's 20th anniversary tournament, which I got to fly out to Paris for and celebrate with Days of Wonder. And it was super cool. They had the 8 best players from Board Game Arena competing. And I put a little video together. So I will link it in the show notes because I'm proud of it.
Wow. Very cool. Wow.
Thanks.
So you're hanging out with the top players in the world? Seriously? That's
for
amazing.
Ticket to Ride. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. These guys were no joke. And yeah, they were from all over. There was somebody from Hong Kong, Quebec, 2 people from Italy, a couple people from the US.
And I'm assuming each player, you have to know every single map, or you have to be proficient at most of the maps, right?
Yeah, well, you should just watch the video, Ruel.
And
then you'll learn about these players.
Perfect. Yeah.
Anyways, well, today we're not going to be talking about Ticket to Ride. Instead, we're going to discuss 2-player abstract strategy games with a hint of theme. And, kind of share some of our favorites at the moment. And this topic has been something that's been popping around in my brain for a few months. And actually, there's one game on my list that inspired it.
Oh.
But we were going to talk about something else, but then we sort of changed it. So,
yeah.
And I hear you're not like a big abstract strategy player.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy abstracts, and then as I'm putting together this list, I look at the topic. I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be tougher than I thought." And I may have, like, as you'll see when we get to the list, I may have fudged a little bit on certain ones, but I think of the classics like chess and checkers, right?
Right.
But like, I love backgammon.
Hey, don't reveal my whole list here.
Oh, is that your own one? God, sorry.
But just kidding.
Yeah, but like games like backgammon, which are been around for thousands of years, there's absolutely no theme to it. So we can't talk about that. So it really took me a while to dig through and find some games for the topic. But I'm excited to hear about all of our games.
Cool. Same here. And no worries at all. I'm sure like some of mine will be a bit questionable too, but it's our own interpretation here,
Exactly.
But before we get into talking about some of our favorite 2-player abstract strategy games with a hint of theme, I'd love to hear what you've been playing lately, Ruel.
Yeah.
So let's jump into fresh plays.
So my first game that I want to talk about for fresh plays is Conservas. This is the new or new-ish solo game by Scott Alms. I'm a big fan of his. He's done the Tiny Epic series, a bunch of other games for Button Shine and so forth. This one was released last year. I just got a copy thanks to 25th Century Games. They sent me a review copy. This is a game of creating conservas, which are tinned seafoods, like canned seafood. And you get on your boat, go out in the ocean, fish, come back, and then you're going to produce these goods. And you do it over a month-long a season, I guess, for the game. It takes about 20 minutes. It's a bag building game. And Candace, I was blown away by this. I didn't think it was going to be that as hard as it was. It was a challenge. I was like, whoa.
I've actually played it, Ruel.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, I ended up picking this one up at Essen last year.
Okay.
And I've only played it once. And I basically just realized I had a missed opportunity. I thought about bringing it because when my mom was in town, we did this little 3-night cruise together. And I was like, this would be a great game to play on the water. But
yeah,
but I've only played it like once or twice, and I was really impressed with it.
Yeah. I think the thing that impressed me most, and this was a lot of Scott's designs that I really enjoy, is there's not a lot of rules overhead. Like it's pretty easy to get into, but then as you play it, it's like, oh, I should have done this last turn, or I should have done that, and like, okay, now I need to play it again.
Yeah,
and I played a couple of times. I was like, oh man, I keep losing. Like, it's this really cool balance of you want to fish and get a bunch of fish to sell, but then you don't want to overfish because there's no more fish in the ocean. Like,
right, because you have to balance like leaving some fish and have them paired so they can have fish babies. So
exactly.
It's really, really cool, very thematic, and I love bag building. And I know Scott Alms has a lot of like smaller games. I guess I've played the Tiny Epic Game of Thrones.
Yep.
And I have his big game that I got from someone at Strategicon, the Heroes of Air, Land, and Sea, which I haven't tried yet.
Yeah, that it's so funny. That game is such the opposite of what I expect from Scott. It's like huge, right? But it's fun because in Heroes, he has that similar follow mechanism. So you do a turn and then you can spend resources if it's not your turn to follow the active player. So I really like that about that game. But yeah, Conservas, terrific game. Plays in about 20 minutes. I personally love it. So yeah, that's one of the games I played.
Awesome. Yes. And I need to like revisit this one. I actually have it on my shelf that's closer to the table, but I remember enjoying it a lot. And yeah, I definitely need to like go through more because it's like a wire-bound book, right?
Yeah.
Where you play different scenarios.
Yeah. So you start in January and you go all the way through December. It's like a whole year, but it's not like a campaign. You could like flip back and forth and do whatever you want. And then they have a separate sheet as well that includes different additional challenges. So
cool.
Yeah, it's a really, really neat game.
Well, I recently played, I guess for the second and third time, maybe fourth time, Hot Streak.
Yeah.
Have you played Hot Streak yet?
I have not, but I've seen it. And the second I saw it, I was like, I need that game, Candace.
I need it too. I don't own it yet.
Okay,
But Hot Streak is designed by John Perry, who's the designer that did Air, Land, and Sea, Spots, and Scapegoat, which Dan Thoreau from Space Biff told me about Scapegoat. I bought it. And actually, that is also sitting close to my table because I've been wanting to actually try that one. But Hot Streak is a 2025 release from CMYK, plays with 2 to 9 players, and this is a betting game where we are betting on mascots that are racing during like a halftime show. And the presentation and production of this game is so unique and like when you see it, you're gonna be like, wow, somebody made this game happen. And it's very special, but the game itself is super fun. You have these 4 mascots. There's a hot dog, there's a like a bear, there's a fish, and then and then there's like a queen lady or something like that. But the cool thing is the models for these mascots, you can see like the person's eyes popping out. So it's not just a hot dog. There's a person in a hot dog costume. And so what's going to happen is you have a deck of cards that are going to move each of these different mascots a number of spaces. Sometimes they'll swerve, sometimes they'll turn around, and it's kind of wacky and wild like that. But at the start of the game, you get a number of cards from the deck that you'll put out so everyone can see. And then each player gets 3 cards. And what's going to happen is I think you play 3 rounds, maybe 4.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're playing, you're going to be taking turns placing bets, almost like ready, set, bet kind of, but it's not real time. But you're going to place a bet, and it's a snake draft kind of thing, a snake order, where if I pick first, the person who's picking last picks 2, and then it comes back around. And what you can bet on is either the individual mascots, or there's also always a kind of like a scenario card that's there that you could say yes or no. Like, oh, I think the hot dog Hurley is going to be knocked over by the end of the game or something. And you can make a bet on that, but you're like looking at the cards that are going to be shuffled into the deck, and you know it's in your hand. The other thing is, like, when you bet on a mascot, there are, I believe, 3 different bets you can make. I mean, if you're the first person to get it, you get the better one that pays out more.
Okay.
Then the next person would get a slightly lower payout. And then the third person, they get the least payout if that person places in first, second, or third. When you take a bet, you also have to decide if you want to make it risky or safe. So if you make it risky, you could potentially win more money if they come in like first place. Otherwise, it's crap. Also, with the risky, I think for the yes and no ones, based on whatever the question is of the round or the statement, the risky will make you lose money.
Okay.
Yeah, but in most cases, you're making an amount of money depending on what place they come in. And then after everyone gets makes 2 bets, you have them in front of you, you start the race, you have one person reveal the cards and say who's moving what number of spaces. And then another person moves these mascots forward on this track. When you cycle the deck, the mat, because the board that they're racing on is like this pull-out thing, like almost like saran wrap or something. Like, you like roll it out of the box. And what happens is whenever you have to reshuffle, if the race is still going, you flip a part of the back end of the map over. And if somebody is under there, they're out. They're eliminated. They immediately go to the last space. There are cards that make people swerve. And if somebody then runs into you or runs into that character, they fall over. When you fall over and your card is drawn, no matter how many movement points are on there, you only move 1 because you're kind of crawling. There are some recover cards. There are cards that make you turn around. It is wacky and wild. And then like the final round, you end up making one of your bets times 2. So I think I played about 4 times. We got my mom playing it one night when she was here, and she loves hot dogs and was just like kind of voting on the hot dog. It sometimes worked,
Yeah, that's totally me. I was hooked on, I want this game just because I saw that hot dog mascot. I'm like, yes, this is my jam right here. Oh my gosh. It's a game that appeals to a lot of things I like about this type of game. It's, a little bit of betting, of course. I love the whole aspect of betting, but because I love Ready, Set, Bet. Yeah. But that one, appeals to, I think it would appeal more to gamers, whereas this one, it seems like it would be super easy to get to the table for like casual gamers as well.
Yeah. So it is fun. Yeah, if my mom was able to like pick it up, and we played 2 games. But I have a theory, though. It comes with paper money, and it's nice paper money because it's like, finished slightly. Okay. But I'm always like, I have poker chips sitting right there.
Yep.
And so on the game that I broke out the poker chips for 3 out of 5 of us. That's the game I won. I was like, see, I need the poker chips.
You need the chips.
But anyways, that is Hot Streak. I'm trying to cut back on games, but I think this one I might need it. I might need it in my collection.
Yeah, this one I definitely need in my collection. Just I saw the little mascots, and I'm a sports ball fan, so anytime you get these mascots like racing against each other, I'm like, yeah, I'm all into it.
Yeah, and another thing like that I love that CMYK is doing, and they did it with Wilmot's Warehouse also, is depending on who wins and the amount of money they win, I think there is like an epilogue of like something you'll read that.
Yeah, nice.
Anyways, yeah, that's Hot Streak. It's super fun, very unique in terms of components and presentation.
Yeah,
but it's super cool.
I can't wait to play it. Super looking forward to that one for sure.
I think you'll like it. You'll like it.
Hot Streak was a perfect segue to my game because, as I mentioned just a second ago, I'm a sports ball fan, particularly a Dodgers fan, LA Dodgers.
Nice.
I bleed Dodger blue, so is my entire family. And I just got this game called Hits and Outs. This is sent to me by designer Ronald Halliday. It's a 2-player game from Itten in Japan. So right now, I don't think they have any plans to release it in the US, but there are ways to get it, through, some stores will have, be able to import it for you or whatnot. But again, this is a terrific game, and it's super simple. It's even simpler than Hot Streak. So what it is, it's basically a bluffing deduction game. Ooh. One player is the pitcher and one player is the batter. And the pitcher is going to have 4 options. They're going to have 4 bases, right? You have the home plate and first, second, third. And each of them, they're going to hide either an X token or a ball token. There are 3 X's and 1 ball.
Okay.
They go behind the screen, they lift the screen, and it is literally a baseball diamond. So if you're the pitcher, I'm trying to figure out where did Candace hide the ball? So was it under first base? So I lift up first base. No, it's an X. And X means out. So just like in baseball, you have 3 outs. So I wonder if Candace put it under home plate. I lift home plate. Nope, it's not there. So second out. Did she put it under second base? I lift it. Yeah, it's under second base. So now I've gotten a double. So I placed my little baseball player meeple on second base. And then you, Candace, as the pitcher, would take everything back and redo everything and place them back out. And we play until there's either 3 outs on your side or I score a run or whatnot. It is just a bluffing, super simple, but it's the perfect light baseball game. And actually, the first time I ever played, I got it just like 2 weeks ago. My wife and I, Michelle, went to the Dodger game and we played it at Dodger Stadium.
Awesome.
It was the perfect setting for it. We had our hot dogs and we played hits and outs, and it was just like, chef's kiss. It was a perfect experience.
Awesome.
This is super light game, super portable. If you can get a copy, friends, I would highly recommend it, especially if you're a baseball fan like I am. But even if you're not a baseball fan, it's super easy to understand. It's just guessing, almost like the shell game. Where is the thing I'm trying to find?
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, it was super cool.
I like it. I have not heard of that one. Hits and outs.
So I hadn't, it wasn't even on my radar, but thankfully Ronald Halliday, the designer, follows me on Blue Sky. And if you follow me on Blue Sky, I talk about 2 things, either board games or Dodgers baseball. And Ron, he reached out, was like, hey, I just designed a baseball game. I'm going to send it to you. I'm like, thanks, man. And it was the rest is history.
Really cool. So I take it you probably like the baseball deck building game too.
Baseball Highlights 2045. My all-time favorite sports ball game ever.
Cool.
I love that. Yeah, I will play that anytime. I actually soloed that game a bunch. I'll stream like a solo version of it. It's terrific. It's so much fun.
Cool.
And I try to play as many baseball games as possible, but not all of them are that good. So there's a lot I've played that. Okay, they're okay. I'm glad I played them, but Hits and Outs and Baseball Highlights 2045 are in my collection permanently now.
Cool. Okay, I have to mention one more sports ball game because you're a sports ball guy. But have you ever played Eric Lang's Kaosball?
I have, many years ago, and it was a blast. I'm sort of sad because I played a friend's copy at the local gaming meetup that I used to go to pre-pandemic, but then we lost touch with him, and it was his copy. I'm like, I never got to play it again, but that was a lot of fun.
Hey, guess who scored a copy for like $5 at the one in February, Strategic Con?
Oh, are you serious? Nice.
Girl. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and wasn't there like a bunch of expansions too? Did you get any of those? So
they didn't come with it with my $5 pickup, But I
$5 is
did
a steal.
end up having such a great time playing it. The one time Matt and I played it, we got the rules a little mixed up. So I've been really wanting to revisit it. But I went and ordered a bunch of the expansions because there are all these asymmetric teams. They're very thematic. It's hilarious. So I definitely want to like get this one back to the table soon because it was just kind of like wacky and wild.
I love hearing that. You know, that reminds me, I need to go back to Strategicon soon because I need to go hit that flea market and get me a copy for $5.
Gotta love virtual flea markets.
Same. Nice.
Awesome. Well, I mentioned my mom was in town visiting, and one of the games I was really excited to show her. I had never played it, but I knew she would like it because it's a word game and it's also push your luck. And it's called Typeset. And Typeset is from DVC Games in Jasper Beatrix, which is, I mentioned another game called Scream Park, maybe last episode. This is the same design team, same publisher. And it came out in 2024. It's a small box. So I took it with me and I was like, okay, Mom, let's play this. And here's the deal. You have a little like dry erase board, and each round you're going to pull one at a time a consonant letter out of I have a bag for it now, but like, you know, you can shuffle them up face down. And so like, let's say it's a C. We each, all players, and it plays with 1 to 6, have to write a C, or you have a number of errors. So if you're like, I can't fit a C into anything, you can just like mark it off. But you have to make a mark or write the letter C. And then the next letter comes up. O, V, whatever. So you're going to be pulling 5 letters, but the letters that you're revealing are all consonants. Then on the right side of your little board, you have a number of vowels. And, you know, I think they're the most E's and then, you know, less O's or whatever. But you can cross them out anytime before or after you place one of the consonants and, you know, use vowels until you run out. And then meanwhile, there are different ways where you can unlock like bonus letters that are wild that can be anything pretty much. But you're trying to make the longest word. And the way it works is I think there are 7 rows and maybe the columns go to like 8 letters max or something like that, 7 or 8 max. And if you can make a word that fills the whole thing, it'll be 10 points. And then like if you're 1 letter short, it's 7 points. So it's like, you know, you want to come up with valid long words, because at the end of the round, when everybody stops, you're going to get points for those words. But it's a push your luck game. So what happens is at the end of each round, after we pull 5 letters, you have to decide if you want to stop or keep going. And then it's like, you know, early on, it's like, oh, yeah, I'll keep going. Yeah, keep going. But then you start to get into this sticky situation if you keep going where you might run out of errors because you can only have 5 errors. And by the way, when you take your 4th and 5th error, you start losing points from that. But then you have to, let's say I run out of errors and we still have 3 letters to pull. I have to write them somewhere. So now I'm making my other words possibly invalid. And when they score, they're worth the amount of points as negative points. So like if I had to put a random Q on something that made it hit the 7-point slot, that's negative 7 points.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty much that. And then there are like special ability cards which you can play that give you some cool ability. And once you use that a number of times, you get access to a bonus. I feel like, and the other thing is you can unlock bonuses as you place challenging letters, they call them. Like, I think they're a Z maybe.
Right.
They're like 5 letters that there's only 1 copy of them. And that is that's pretty much it. But we ended up playing it a lot.
Nice.
When it was just 2 players, my mom crushed me every time, and she was so proud of herself. But we played a 5-player game, and in that game, she did not win. So there.
Oh, okay.
Ha ha. I didn't either, but yeah. And then I also just wanted to briefly mention that we played a game called Chakra. Chakra is an older game. Have you played this one before?
No, I've heard of this one, but so I'm curious. Like, what is Chakra all about?
Yeah, it's a game from 2019, and it's designed by Luca Creza and published by Blam. And Blam actually sent me a copy of the game recently, along with the expansion, which I haven't tried yet. But this is a game that is all about aligning your chakras, and it's a very like kind of Zen game. And eventually I want to do an episode where we talk about like games that are like kind of positive mental health focused.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, that's a cool topic.
Oh, well, sorry I didn't pitch it to you.
I may have to steal it for something else.
Or I'll have to have you back when I'm ready
there
to do it.
There you go.
But you have, this game is like, you have these colorful beads, and each player gets a board with this cute art of these like almost like fairies or something. And on your board, going down the right side, you have, I think, 7 different bowls that are chakra bowls, and they're different colors. And what you're trying to do is get 3 gems that match the color of the chakra bowl into the bowl. And, you know, I kind of questioned, I was like, should I show this one to my mom? And then I was like, yeah, she can handle it. Because basically on your turn, you have 2 options. You either take gems from there's like a little market that has, I think, 3 columns, and you have to take you don't take all the gems from one column, but you can take unique ones. So if there's a column that has 2 purples and an orange, I can either take a single purple, a single orange, or a purple and an orange, but I cannot take 2 purples. Then there are negative energy gems, and if you take from a column that has one of those, you always must take that. And your goal with those is to push them down to the bottom of your board. You're like putting the negative energy into earth, and then you can use it to do some cool effect, or it's worth a point at the end of the game. But the other thing you do on your turn is you have these little inspiration tokens, circular discs. It's almost like a little worker placement. And that's the other reason I wanted to show my mom, because it's like you have on your board, it's a personal worker placement. So you can place an inspiration token to shift gems up or down. And they're like, I want to say like 8 circles that maybe say move 1 up twice and 1 down or something like that. Or move 3 different ones, 1 down. So you're trying to like align these chakras, and it's kind of puzzly because each bowl only has space for 3. Once you have a bowl filled, meaning it's harmonized and has the 3 colors, you can pass 1 gem through it for free. Like it kind of skips it.
Okay.
But ultimately, the way the game scores, which I haven't said, you want to have the most victory points, but each of the chakra bowls are going to be worth a number of points. And you put these tokens face down, and they're either 1 to 4 points. And each player gets to peek at one before the game starts. So you know, like, oh, maybe I got to peek at red, and red is going to be worth 2 points. That's okay. Like, I don't need to like focus hardcore on that.
Yeah.
But every time you take the third action, which is meditate, you get to take all your inspiration discs back from the worker placement areas. Okay. And you get to take a peek at one of the meditation tokens. Nice. And then also the other thing I'll mention is when you place the gems, after you take the action to like pick some up, you either have to put them in spaces. They all have to go to the same place. You either put them in these 3 spaces you have at the top of your board so they can like start trickling down, or you can put them directly into one of the bowls, but then you have to lock up one of your inspiration tokens, and that's like your worker. And you cannot get that one back until you harmonize that chakra. Then it comes back. So there's some nice stuff to it, but it's like chill. It's pretty, nice tactile experience of like moving these gems up and down.
Yeah.
So I like it, but I hear the expansion like ramps it up and makes things even like more replayable. So I'm excited to try that, and it's modular as well.
Okay. Now, is this a 2-player only game? Does this play multiple players?
No, it's listed as 1 to 4.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But I think according to the people who have voted on BGG, a lot of people like it with 2 or 3.
Okay.
So I ended up playing it a couple times with my mom, 2-player, and then once with my mom and Matt, 3 players. And it was cool. It's like again, very chill, and I felt the zeniness, but the scoring gets tight though, because like, hey, if you know the yellow Chakra Bull is worth 7 points or 7, sorry, mixing up the games, 4 points, and we both do that, it's like, okay, well, we both got 4 points. I need to get an edge on you somehow.
Right.
So,
right. Oh, I love that. That's cool. Yeah, both these games sound awesome. I mean, I'm a word fan, word game fan as well. So any kind of word game, I'm all about. And this Chakra seems just like I imagine in my head, something Zen-like, right?
Yes.
With meditation. So very cool. Yeah, I would like to, like, if you had to pick between the two. I mean, I know they're 2 totally different games. Which one would you recommend?
Ooh. Oh, Ruel, that's hard. I personally, I think I would play Chakra more because, I don't know, it's a little different, and I like games that have tighter scoring and like some secret information. I think so. But I don't know how available it is anymore because my copy's in French, I think.
Oh, okay.
I had to get the rules from BGG. But I think Typeset is a very unique word game. And it's cool that you can play it solo as well.
That really appeals to me. Yeah, I'm a solo gamer. I'm a word gamer. But something like that, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, Chakra sounds so cool as well. So I don't know. I want to play them both, and I'll make a decision then.
for sure.
Yeah.
And the other thing we played a bunch is Odin. We played the 2-player variant of Odin, and that was very, very fun. I was undefeated at that one.
Oh, nice. How does, like, I like Odin. I played it a bunch on BGA, but I haven't played the physical version yet. But what's different about the 2-player game? Because I haven't played it 2 yet.
The only thing different is you take out 2 suits of cards.
Oh, okay.
So that's it, which is awesome, right?
Yeah, it's a terrific game.
Yeah, so it's like nice that all you need to do to play it with 2 is just like take out some cards, and it's the same game. Shuffle, deal 9, and try to get rid of them. But yeah, I like it a lot.
That's cool. Yeah. You know what? Real quick, when I played for the first time, it's been around forever, probably like 20 years. Coloretto, the card game.
Oh, yes.
I'd heard about it for so many years, and I went to a local game store, Game Nights Cafe in Pomona, California. And the owner would just, I saw it there. I was like, I've never played this game. He's like, man, I can't keep this thing in stock. And he explained the rules to me in like 1 minute. I bought the copy, brought it home, and immediately I was like, okay, I see why this is so popular.
Yes.
It's terrific.
And I don't know that it invented that like mechanism of revealing stuff and placing and deciding when to take. But I definitely, like, anytime another game has that mechanism, I think of Coloretto.
Agreed.
And yeah, I used to own it. I think I handed it off to somebody in one of my like game donations to friends. But yeah, it's fantastic. Cool.
Yeah, it's so good. I had no idea. So yeah, I played that a bunch actually at LFG Con. I had my copy and I had to show it to a couple of people. And
nice.
It was really neat. It's just, again, simple, straightforward, yet it's very satisfying.
And it's a card game in a small box.
Exactly. I'm all about those.
Now you're convincing me I need to pick it up again.
Oh, I love that. I know you've done it. I've done it plenty of times. Like, I've gotten rid of games. Like,
stuff.
I want it back.
That'll be another episode of this podcast at some point. Which games did I sell and then buy back again later when I realized the errors of my ways?
Yep. That list would be too easy to put together for me.
All right, let's do it right now. New topic.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm kidding. Let's get into our 2-player abstract strategy games with a hint of theme. And, we kind of talked about it, but abstract strategy games, for people who don't know exactly what we're talking about, is like, think of stuff like chess, where you are moving pieces around. A lot of abstract strategy games are 2 players, but they're not all 2 players. But they typically don't have much theme. It's like, think of checkers. I'm moving my black pieces, you're moving your red pieces, we're jumping over each other, but we're playing a tense game. So, like, I think of abstract strategy games like minimal luck, minimal randomness. Like, there's always like a tension to it that almost feels like a war game, covered in makeup or lack thereof.
Right.
But you're not a big abstract strategy gamer, though, because you like the themes.
Yeah, I definitely lean more towards theme. But I do I enjoy abstract games, like we had mentioned earlier. Like, I love backgammon, and that's an abstract game,
so
but it does introduce that luck element with the dice, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like the purest form or whatever. But stuff like, I still want to play Go. I've never played Go.
Me too. I've never played either.
But that's another very simple game, but it's been around for thousands of years, right? So I enjoy them, but not as much as I enjoy something. Give me all the goodies and the theme and the paint and everything else, and I appreciate that.
That's why I made it with a hint of theme just for you, Ruel.
Thank you, Candace. I appreciate that. Just give me a little theme, and I'm into it.
But I started realizing maybe like a year or 2 ago how many games I love that are like, that really under the cover, it's an abstract strategy game, but it has some kind of theme or setting, which, I don't know, just makes it a little more appealing.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I will play, like, I think I played a game called Jacques or something. I think it's XO. I don't remember how to spell it, but it was like sharks. Like sharks against fish or something like that. And it's abstract. It came out last year.
Yeah.
And I love stuff like that too. That one is a little too, there is not even a hint of theme. I mean, it's a very small hint, but it's good. And so I like these kind of games. I don't know that I'm like very good at them, but I
Same.
I like how they make me think. And like I said, there's one game that's going to be on my list that kind of gave me the idea of this topic. Maybe 2 of them. I don't know. Okay. But anyways, I'm very curious to hear like what you came up with and what came to mind for you as someone who, had to do a little bit of digging.
Yeah, I definitely had to do some digging. And, the games that I really enjoy, now these are abstract games, Candace, but they have no theme, but I really enjoy them. It's the series of games that start with the letter Q. Corridor, Quarto, Koali, right?
Quarto, yes.
Right? Michelle and I play those all the time. We love them, but those are literally no theme at all, right? They're just wooden pieces, and you try to get them in 5 in a row or 4. You know what I mean?
And you like it, though.
They're great. Yeah, they're terrific. And it's one of those things, give me those type of games where it's like 1 page of rules, if even that.
Yeah,
I can just leave it out on the table, and when we have guests come over, like, oh, what's that? That doesn't look like chess. Oh, let me show you. This is better than chess, but there's no theme whatsoever, but they're really easy. And I really do enjoy that whole series of games. I think it's Gigamech that puts them out, right?
I have not even played them all, but like, they're beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I should, because I like abstract strategy games.
Yeah, I would highly recommend them. Pick up any of those. I know that it was cute. They did I think it's Corridor, the Q Corridor, but they did like a Pac-Man version. So it was like little Pac-Man pieces, and you're chomping the dots or whatever. I thought that was really neat. So I guess that could have qualified, for. Oh, well, I wish I would have thought that an hour ago when I came on my list. But anyways, why don't I kick things off, Candace, with my number 5? How's that work?
I love it. I love it. Let's hear it.
So my number 5 is the theme I picked. I love to eat. I'm a foodie. So, of course, I'm going to have a game at number 5 called Donuts. Now, Donuts is a 2-player abstract game from Bruno Cathala. He's done all kinds of games. And in this one, like a lot of abstract games, you're just trying to get 5 rings in a row. Now, in this case, the rings are either chocolate donuts or glazed donuts. And
love it.
Yeah, and you're just trying to place them in a row. And what separates this from just a regular tic-tac-toe ripoff is the board is, there are like 4 different tiles. They're like 3x3, I think, and then you put them together to make a 6x6 grid.
Okay.
Now, each square of the grid is going to have like a little line on it, either vertical, horizontal, or diagonal. And what that means is when you place your donut on one of those pieces, that line tells the player, your opponent, where they have to place theirs. So they're either going to have to place theirs diagonally to yours or vertically or horizontally. So you're trying to set, you play yours, but then you try to set your opponent up as well. And eventually you're going to go back and forth, either O's, the chocolate donuts or glazed donuts. And then when you sort of like trap your opponent between 2 of your pieces, you get to flip those over to your side. So if there are 2 glazed donuts and I'm the chocolate donuts, I put those 2, if I have 2 chocolate donuts on either side,
cool.
Then yours all flip over to chocolate. And you're trying to get to 5 in a row. Now, there's a lot of times when you don't get 5 in a row, right? And that's where this really neat thing goes where, okay, we place all the donuts on the board, the game is over. Now you try to find the longest continuous line, and whoever has that line wins the game. So It's either 5 in a row or the biggest line. And yeah, donuts, terrific abstract game. I always get hungry when I play it, but it is a abstract game with just a hint of theme on it, and that is donuts.
Awesome. And I feel like I've definitely seen this box cover,
yeah.
but I've never played it, so that's cool.
Yeah, definitely check that one out.
And now I want a donut.
Yeah, same. Okay, real quick, favorite donut of all time. What do you have?
Oh, I would say like now I can't say of all time, but I like the old fashioned glazed ones.
Oh yeah.
Just like I don't want chocolate on it.
Yep.
Just old fashioned where it's like got that crunch to it a little bit.
I love that crunch.
Yeah. What about you?
I do like that. My favorite though is a tiger tail. So it's got like the chocolate and the glaze all mixed up in a tiger. It looks like a tiger's tail.
Oh.
It's like a twisted.
I know bear claws, but
bear claws are good too. Yeah. Anything that's named after a big animal is going to taste good, I think. That's just my theory. But yeah.
It sounds like we need a new 2-player abstract strategy game where it's like the donut animals are competing against each other.
Let's design it right now.
Cool. Actually, and that game that you just mentioned, Donut, made me think of something else, which I've already forgotten. But if I think of it, like you talking about that made me think of something.
I know there's I think one of the Q games we're talking about has a similar thing where you flip over pieces of your opponent depending on where you place them, but I'm not really sure exactly what game that was.
I don't know. I'm almost going to guarantee that I'm going to as soon as we hit stop, be like, oh, I totally forgot this. Because I rushed a bit because I was overly confident, oh yeah, I know which games I'm going to talk about. And then it's wait, which games am I talking about? So the first one that I picked is probably the furthest from in terms of, I think there's a little a hint plus of theme, and I don't know if people would consider it an abstract strategy game, but I put it on my list anyway, and that is Ironwood.
Oh, Ironwood.
Have you played it?
No, but okay. I know about anyways, yeah, I know about the game, but I've not played it yet. I'm excited to hear what you say about it here.
So Ironwood is a 2024 released from Mindclash Games. It's in their Mindclash Play line. They're games that are slightly lighter than their usual fare of Tricarion. But it's designed by Mel Burnett and Julien Chaput. You can play it solo, but it's kind of designed for 2 players. And this is an asymmetric, card-driven tactical game where you have 2 different factions that are fighting for control of this area, this land called Ironwood, and they each play kind of thematically to one of them's metal, and all the pieces for the metal player are metal, which is cool, and the ironclad player, all their pieces are wooden. But essentially, you're playing cards, you're doing some cool stuff, but you're really moving pieces around the board and like kind of trying to win. Like there's more to it than something like chess with a hint of theme, but to me it also has like that tension of like, oh, so you moved pieces in there, now do I go for that or do I block over here, you know? So it's, again, like that's why I'm putting it on the as my number 5, but I think it's really good, and it's one that I am wanting to like explore further. The production is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it, like, I love asymmetry. I love like all the choices you have, and the other cool thing is that the different factions they move differently on the board. So like the ironclad, the wood people move through the woods kind of, but the way it all comes together still feels like an abstract strategy game, and I love multi-use cards. And so Ironwood is the first on my list.
Yeah. This one I was excited to see because just because of the publisher, right? Mind Clash. This is not the type of game I would expect them to do.
Right,
but
right.
That's what I was super interested in. Like, I think publishers that do, heavier games, when they go into the space of lighter or medium games, like immediately, I'm like, okay, yes, I want to check that out because I love Tricarion. But that game made my brain hurt, Candace. And it's like,
I know.
Yeah, and it's a great experience, but I want to see what publishers of those type of games, what they bring to the more accessible or more approachable space.
Yes.
Right. So I think that's really neat. Another example is like Chip Theory games, right? They do these, Too Many Bones, these big games, but then all of a sudden they have 20 Strong, which is this little mini solo game. Like, oh, this is cool, right?
Yeah. Totally.
So I'm glad you liked Iron. Like, I really want to get an Ironwood, and it just seems like my type of jam too, with the asymmetry and stuff. It sounds really cool.
Yeah, I think you will like it.
Next game on my list is a game that came out a few years ago, and it's a game called Miyabi by Michael Kiesling. And this one, if you've ever played Number 9, do you remember that game Number 9? It's like, it's a tile laying thing where they have these really funky tiles that look like numbers 1 through 9, and you lay them down and you build upwards. So it's a 3D laying game, right?
Oh, I don't think I've ever played it.
Oh, that one's terrific. But I picked Miyabi because Number 9, there's no theme whatsoever. You're just literally putting numbers down and trying to build them up, right?
Okay,
Miyabi
gotcha.
takes that same concept and you're building like a Japanese garden, right? But it really is an abstract at its heart. You're just trying to line these up. So you have like different things on your tiles, like a tree or a pagoda or a pond. And you put them down on your board. Everyone has their own separate player board. And there are certain columns or rows or columns where you can only place certain items. Like in row 3, I can only put, a tree. So you take that tile and these are all like polyominoes. So at least part of that tile has to have a tree that's in there. And you're building it up, and each time you put one in a column, you're going to put a lantern there, so there can only be so many per column and row.
Ooh.
And when you start running out of room, that's when you start building up. Sort of like I think it's Acropolis that does a similar thing in older game Tuluva, where
Gotcha.
you build up these tiles, and as you line up the similar items, like the pagodas or the trees or the ponds, you get more points based on how high your level is. So if I have a couple of trees and I'm on level 3, then I'm going to be multiplying by 3 and so forth. And then at the very end, after everyone's, you've gone through the tiles, everyone's taking their equal amount of turns, you're going to have like an area control thing, like who has the most trees aboard, who has the most ponds and so forth. It is a game that really, the theme doesn't, honestly, it comes out a little bit, but not much.
Yeah.
Because it really is at its heart, it's the abstract. I mean, these ponds and pagodas, those could be like X's and O's or whatever. But they do put just a hint of theme, and I love it because it reminds me of Number 9, which I really liked, but I like Miyabi better because it has a little set collection element to it. Ooh. With the ponds and pagodas and so forth. So that's my number 4 on my list, Miyabi. Now, this does play 2 to 4 players. I played at all player counts. I actually prefer 2 players in this game, but Michael Kiesling, can't go wrong with Miyabi.
I have not played Miyabi. I love that you've already talked about 2 games that I have not played.
Nice.
And I am definitely interested in both.
Yeah.
And I have some games on my list that are not strictly 2 players, but like, they're like almost like meant to be played that way.
Right. Yep. Totally.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, the next one on my list is an older game from CGE. and
Oh.
Vlada Shavtel,
Oh.
Tash Kalar.
Oh my gosh.
Have you played Tash Kalar?
No, and it's another one I've heard of. Okay,
you
tell me all
just,
about this one. What's
Ruel,
good about this?
you just need to come over. Like,
yeah, right?
we need to just get together, and like there are too many 2-player games I'm realizing you haven't played, and vice versa.
Yeah, and we can all knock them out in one night. You know?
Exactly. Exactly. So Tash Kalar is kind of like an arena game where you are competing. Each player is going to take like a deck, and you have different factions. Again, like that, this is not going to be the first time you hear that. I like games that have different factions or asymmetric abilities or powers, but you'll have a deck of cards. I haven't played this in a while, by the way, but I have been wanting to revisit it, especially because we have Geek Up bits for it in the BGG store. And
nice.
They're like the cardboard tokens that come with it are nice, but like the Geek Up bits, I'm like, I can't wait to like get this back to the table. But you're trying to deploy pieces based on making patterns on these cards that you have. So you'll be like placing your components out, your opponent's doing that too, and you're trying to like make some kind of shape that positions in a way that you will be able to attack them sort of with magic. And so it's got this like kind of arena magicians summoning and casting spells on each other in an arena, but the base game has 4 different factions, and each one has like a unique deck. And then I forget if they're 2, I think they're 2 expansions, and I have it all. And I just want to play it more because it's such a banger. Even now, so like anybody out there like listening, if you're into abstract strategy games and want just a hint of theme, like all these games are like good to check out. But like Tash Kalar is special. I know it has like 2 different game modes. Like there's more to it that I'm not remembering, but all you have to know is it's cool, it's thinky, and it's unique too. Yeah, it's unique. So yeah, that is Tash Kalar.
Yeah, I remember this specifically because, again, I think it was pre-pandemic, the gaming meetup group that I was hanging out with, someone had a copy of it, and I missed out on playing it that day, and they just never got around to playing it. Like, I was like, because I've heard nothing but great things about it. Yeah. Is it still in print? I don't know if you have any idea, because I have a feeling it went out of print at one point, did it? I'm not sure.
I feel like it's still in print.
Okay.
I think it is. Cool. I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I definitely recommend it.
Nice. Awesome. So, I talked about Michael Keesling for my last game, and this was totally not by design, but somehow I have another Michael Keesling game on the list. And I actually debated. There's a couple of games I debated, like, do I include this on here? Because I know people already played it out. Do I go for obscure stuff? But you know what? I have to include this because it's an all-time classic. My number 3 on the list is Azul. Yeah, I had to go here, Candace. I mean, there is some kind of theme about, it's a Portuguese king and you're like placing tiles in his palace. No one cares about that. It's all about the fantastic gameplay, right?
Right.
And it's just brilliant. Kiesling has come up with another banger, and this is, one of the most highly rated games of recent years. And I played all versions of it. I think my favorite probably is Azul Summer Pavilion, but I had to include the original just because it's just been so hugely influential, and it's the one that, it's probably the one that I teach the most as far as like for new gamers, right? I'll say, if you ever played Azul, no, okay, here it is. You're just drafting tiles from, a common pool. You're going to draft all the tiles of one color from a little, I forget, they're called factories, but they look like coasters.
Yeah, they're
like beer coasters, right?
With starbursts on them.
Starbursts, yes, exactly. So do not eat these pieces, folks. That's what I always tell folks. But and then you take the ones of the same color, place on your board, and you're trying to line them up in rows of similar colors. And then you're going to get points based on if you can collect all the same colors, or if you can line them up in rows or columns. You'll get bonus points of that. When someone gets a row all the way across, that triggers the end game, and you're going to score your bonus points. It is just so smooth, and it's like silky smooth gameplay. And I really appreciate this because of the fact that my hardcore gaming friends will play it, My non-gaming friends will play it, family, you know, casuals. It just cuts across all demographics, all playing styles, and it's a classic for a reason, a modern classic for a reason. That's Azul.
Nice. And I don't think I've played every version of it.
Okay.
But I think I did play the summer one. I start to lose track. And
there's a bunch.
Have you played the Azul Duel?
I have. I recently played it. I liked it. I don't know. I had like mixed feelings about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked it, but there was a few things. It made it a little clunkier than Azul, which I didn't expect. But at the same time, it was definitely a really tricky puzzle to solve. And just having that back and forth play with one opponent is a really neat element as well. But yeah, something I'd like to revisit for sure.
Yeah, I haven't played Azul Duel yet, but I did have someone else kind of tell me something similar, like because you know, I love Seven Wonders Duel. I thought Splendor Duel was cool.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So, but can't win them all, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Nice. What's next on your list, Candace?
Okay, now this is one of the games that made me think of the theme. And it is War Chest.
Oh, yes.
War Chest from David Thompson, Trevor Benjamin, AG. Came out in 2018. It plays with 2 to 4 players. I've played it both with 2 players, and then I've played it with 4 players, 2v2. And I love both ways, or all ways you can play this. Mm-hmm. But it's a bag building kind of war game. And it is very abstract looking in that you have a board that has different spaces. I don't think they're hexes. I can't remember exactly what they look like, but you're like moving pieces around and you're trying to capture, like take control of key spaces. And the thing that's really neat about it, number one, David Thompson and Trevor Benjamin are just like such an amazing design duo, like, you know, Undaunted, the whole Undaunted series.
Yep.
Tons of games. They do some really fantastic stuff together. But this game, you have a bunch of different types of units. And each unit comes with its own chips. And they're like these really nice poker chips, like weighty chips. And you will play with a number of these different types of units. And you'll put all their chips into your bag, shuffle your bag, and then draw a number of them. And you're basically, they call them coins, but you're basically taking turns performing actions. Like sometimes you can recruit new people, but then you have to like discard one from your hand. Other times you're going to be deploying new pieces on the board. You can add a unit on top of another unit to make it stronger and harder for your opponent to knock out. But the cool thing is you have all these different units. I forget how many come in the base game, but they all function differently and they're slightly, you know, they're thematic in that, like, hey, if I'm a person that shoots a bow and arrow, maybe I'll be able to attack on a diagonal, not spaces directly next to me, but like ones that are one step further. So each unit has a card that'll tell you how it can function in terms of, you know, a special ability or movement or attacking. And it's just really awesome. I love how many different units are, how like mixing and matching different combinations of the units is really fun. The components are awesome.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just like, I love this game. I can't see myself ever getting rid of it. And if I did, I would buy it again.
That's the other podcast we'll be doing.
Yeah. But no, War Chest is not leaving. I think I still need to play like the last expansion or the last 2 probably. I think I might not even have one. Holy cow. I don't know. I gotta audit my War Chest situation. But
nice.
Have you played this one?
Yeah, love War Chest. And actually this made my short list for this, and it just didn't squeak in my top 5. But yeah, it is a fantastic game. The only reason why it didn't make my top 5, Candace, is I haven't played it enough. Like I have 2 of the expansions I haven't even touched yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's a fantastic game. I love the bag building element to it and all the different units. And the components, it's like Splendor type poker chips, right? Very nice and chunky,
even
and
nicer
it feels
than
good.
Splendor. But
Yeah.
I feel like they're a little weightier, but
Yeah. So
very nice.
terrific game. Great call on War Chest.
Thanks. All right, on to your next one. We're on.
Okay, number 2 on my list is a game that's been out of print, but I just heard recently it's coming back into print. Someone got the rights to it. It's a game called Spirits of the Wild. Now, believe it or not, this game by Nick Hayes, Candace, I don't know if you've played it, but it is a game that was released by Mattel years ago. Mattel, right? The greatest game they ever published. I kid you not. This is a 2-player game where it's a stone taking game. So you got these little stones, or they look like little gems in a bag. You pull them out, and you're going to try to collect the different sets, right? So some of them you're trying to get a set of 3 that are similar color, maybe a set of 5 that are all different colors. Some you want like pairs of different colors, etc. But what's really neat about this is you're using these action cards. Everyone has action cards. You shuffle them up, and you're going to, from your hand, you're going to play one where it's like one card may say, okay, draw 3 stones, but keep 2, give 1 to your opponent. Or draw 2 stones, keep 1, put 1 back in the bag, and so forth. So it's pushed by this, the action cards. And then one of the action cards is the coyote. And the coyote's funny because you use that card in order, I think that's the one where you get your cards back in your hand, but the coyote, you physically put it on top of one of your opponent's cards. They cannot use that action until they use the coyote again. So it's a little blocking mechanism. It's really cool. And the game, within the gems, there's like, I think 4 or 5 different colors. And then one of the colors, I think it's a clear one. Those are like the spirit stones, I think they're called, where if you draw the 5th one out of the bag, the game ends. So you don't really know when it's going to end.
I like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Like the scoring mechanisms, like the different sets you're trying to collect remind me of like a Steve Finn game, Dr. Finn's games. He does similar things to it. And Spirits of the Wild, it's been out of print for years. Like, I don't know, Mattel just got into board games for like a year or something, published this one. I'm like, this is awesome. And it was, like everyone I played with loves it. And I don't know the name of the company. They just re-picked it up. I think by the end of this year, early start next year, it'll be back out in print. So
awesome.
That's my number 2, abstract with a slight bit of theme, Spirits of the Wild.
Cool. Oh, I really want to play that one. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Okay, next one on my list is Toy Battle. And Toy Battle, I just recently talked about, but it's a game by Paolo Mori and Alessandro Zucchini. It's a 2025 release from Repos Production. This is a 2-player game where you're drawing tiles from a bag that are different toys, and you're battling against your opponent. Everybody has the same tiles. One player's red, one player's blue. But at the beginning of the game, you take a number of them out, which you don't see. Both players do that. So you might not have the same deck, air quotes, but you're going to have some tiles on a rack. The components are really nice. And basically, on your turn, you're either going to deploy one of your toy, I guess, markers, like they're like chunky cardboard pieces, one of your toys onto the board, or you're going to draw 2 and add them to your rack. It's like a Scrabble rack. But the thing that I love about it is that it's such a clean design. There's so much tension, and there are 8 different boards, and they change rules slightly. It feels abstract, but it also feels fun because I'm like putting a rubber ducky out, and and each unit that you're placing has an ability, but they're very intuitive once you learn them. And the other thing is you have to always be connected back to your base, so you can't just place pieces anywhere. And you're either trying to collect a number of stars by surrounding them on the board, or you want to get into your opponent's base. And I love it. It's just a really good design, and there's so much tension from it. It's the kind of game like my friend Tim and I one night played, and it was just like, okay, let's play the next board. Okay. And
nice.
He crushed me at everything, but I'm working on it. But I really like it. And I can't remember if I brought this up last time I talked about Toy Battle, but another thing I appreciate about it is that there is no wasted space in the box.
Oh,
Like
I love
they
that.
they give
Yeah.
you like little component boxes, but there's no like excess space. Everything fits great.
Nice. Oh, yeah, I've seen Toy Battle out and I have not played it yet, but listening to you talk about it, I didn't know it had all those different boards like that.
Yeah.
And the fact that you, once you played it, you immediately played it again, that to me is a mark of a good game, right?
Yes,
Something where,
yes.
okay, let's do another board. That's terrific.
Exactly. So yeah, that's Toy Battle. Keep that on your radar. And yeah, I love that like one of the boards is like kind of like a haunted graveyard. One is
Nice.
like you're rafting down a river. One looks like Candyland or something, but they all have their own feel, and there'll be like one one rule difference with the board. So it's like really like once you get it and know how the characters work, you just have fun exploring these different maps.
Very cool. Oh, neat. Yeah. Looking forward to trying that one. Cool.
Awesome.
Okay. I've got one more game to talk about, and this one I've talked about many times over many podcasts because I love it so much. You may have thought that Michael Kiesling was my favorite designer, but he's not. I just happen to have two games. My favorite designer is Reiner Knizia, and I had to include this game from the one and only doctor. It is Samurai. This game this game's like 20 something years old and it's still a banger. I love this game. It's set in medieval Japan and you're trying to take over, tiles that represent, they have helmets and rice paddies and Buddhas. I think they represent like warriors, peasants, and priests or religion or something like that.
And a hint of theme.
And
a hint of theme.
That's all it is, right? It's just a hint of theme. You're just trying to take over these little hexes, and you and your opponents behind your little screens are going to pull out from the bag like a certain number of hexes, and you're going to look at these and try to place them on the map wherever you want in order to gain control of those tokens. And as you surround them, it depends on what's on your token. Is it a rice paddy? Is it a warrior? Or is it a Buddha figure? And once you surround one of those, whoever has the most will take that figure behind their screen. You do that throughout the entire island, and once the pieces run out, you're going to check who has the most of the Buddhas, who has the most of the rice paddies, who has the most of the towers or whatever they're called. And there's a lot of ties in this game, so the tiebreaker is basically what you have the most of versus, or like whatever is left over, who has the most of that or whatever.
Gotcha.
It is. Yeah. Oh, it's so good, Candace. I love this. Again, the theme. It could have been anything, honestly, but the gameplay is so sharp. It's a tile lane set collection type thing, but at the same time, it's so easy to get on the table. And every time I play it with someone, no matter it's 2, 3, or 4 players, people are like, "Oh my gosh, this game is good." I was like, "Right? It's over 20 years old."
Yeah,
Knizia, he does designs that are timeless, in my opinion, and that's why it had to be number one on my list of abstracts with a hint of theme. That's Samurai.
Awesome. Yeah, I have played Samurai maybe once, maybe twice. I ended up giving it to my friend who also loved it.
Yeah.
But it was not because I didn't like it. It was just because like, hey, you take this so you have a good Reiner Knizia abstract strategy at your house.
Nice.
And yeah, I did not put Huang on my list, but that is the kind of newest rendition of like Tigris and Euphrates. Because I don't know, I never played it with 2, so I don't know. I'm sure it like is probably fantastic, but Reiner Knizia is awesome at these kind of games. So.
Right? Yeah,
yes.
there were quite a few that I had on the list, but I had to go to my all-time favorite. Samurai has a special place in my heart because it's the very first Knizia I ever played when I got into the hobby. So it's sort of like I'm sort of biased towards it. So,
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that one still in print?
It is not. It's gone through, I think, 2 printings, the original Rio Grande games, which I have. And then, I mean, speaking about box size, boxes that have no wasted space, this has a ton of wasted space. The box is way too big for what it is. But then years later, Fantasy Flight picked it up for a few printings, and then it's been out of print ever since. So,
okay.
Yeah, hopefully that comes back into print someday.
Awesome. Well, in my rushing to make my list, have 2 more. So I'm going to be very brief about them, but the first one that I'll mention is the one that kind of sparked the idea for this episode, and it's a game from Ivy Studio, Mythic Mischief.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a game designed by Max Anderson, Zach Dixon, Austin Harrison. It came out in 2022 and it plays with 1 to 4 players. 1 to 4. Interesting. I don't think I remember that you could play it solo. Actually, yes, I do. Yes, I do. But, and there's also an app for this game, by the way, which I downloaded, started doing the tutorial, and then forgot about because I always forget about apps.
Same.
But in Mythic Mischief, you are playing as a faction of like a group of students, but they're all like ghosts, witches, etc. And they all, again, slightly asymmetric, different factions. You know what I like. But you're basically in this school library, and there's the tome keeper who is going to be walking around trying to get you. And what you're trying to do is get the tome keeper to get your opponents and like get their kids, and you know they're in trouble. And you do that like 10. I think you need 10 points, and you win. But it's just it's like the production is fire. And I love the idea of like this theme that you're running around in this library and trying to like get the teacher to get one of your opponent's pieces. And it's really cool. And the tome keeper, the like librarian, is like moves to different paths. It's trying to like get to different spots on the board in an order. So you kind of know where it's going, but there are things that each player can do to kind of manipulate them a little bit. This game is just awesome. I think that they do a new version of it or something. Or maybe there's just...
Yeah, they did Mythic Mischief 2, which I think it was like a standalone
expansion. Yeah. But the core game has a lot to chew on, but then there's also like the witches, the trolls, the ghost expansions. Yeah, I think it's just fantastic. The production of it, you have these like little dice that you're spending, I think, for action points.
Yeah, the action points.
Yeah. It's just very clever. It's very thematic, but it's also very abstract. Like you're trying to like set things up to capture your opponent, more or less, you know?
Yeah. I love Mythic Mischief. I'm so glad you put it on the list. This is a game I really enjoy. Ivy Studios, all their games production wise, just off the charts, fantastic. And this one, it really is. If you look at it, you can literally just play with little checkers and stuff, right? But they give you these really cool factions, and each one has the different abilities.
And they're like chunky pieces, like really nice pieces. Yeah. So that was I think when I got that, and they did send me a review copy of that at some point. But when I got that and played it, I was like, wow, I really like games like this that are like abstract, but they have just enough theme to, you know, with the art and like to like immerse you a little bit into that abstract strategy world.
Agreed.
The one that because I miscounted that I also had on my list, probably played it before, Santorini.
Oh, yeah. That was on my short list as well.
Okay. Yeah. I love Santorini, and this one might be one that I need to get back because I think I either gave it to a friend who was like starting their game collection. But I love this game. You know, like it has such a cool table presence, and it's like really good with 2 players. Like you have different abilities, and you're moving your little god around like a Greek god kid or whatever, and you're building up, trying to basically you're trying to like trap your opponent, or you're trying to I think you're trying
to leap off the 3rd level. You're trying to jump off the 3rd level or something, right? Yeah, it's been a while since I've played.
Same here, but like it's a game that if you see it on the table, it'll catch your attention because you're like building these blocks up. And it's super cool, and I need to get it again. I love Santorini, and I'm glad you put it on this list. It was on my short list, but I was one of the original Kickstarter backers way back in the day. Snap.
And I remember getting it, and just, you know, you talked about table presence. It's just gorgeous. It's got the 3D element to it. And I just got sent a copy of the new one. I think, was it Riddle the Sphinx or something like that, where it's like a standalone expansion, and you can play solo as well, which I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So I still need to dig into this new version that I just got.
And I think there might be multiple new versions. Like wasn't there like a New York one that maybe introduced like
You're right.
Did it introduce co-op or something? I don't remember, but you're right. I need to check into all the newer versions of Santorini and give them a whirl. Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the new one.
Yeah. I did like the New York one, but this new one with the solo mode and stuff, and it introduces some new gods as well.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, and it's just right. It's so clever. Like just Santorini, the base movements. So it's very abstracty, right? You move up, then you place a base. Move down, place a base, whatever. Very simple, right? But then you add the gods, like asymmetrical powers.
Yeah,
look out, and they actually have like a list. I remember the list, like, don't play this god with this one because it's overpowered or whatever. So
nice of them to include that.
Great call, Candace. I love Santorini.
Cool, thank you. And not that I made it, but like, you. I'm like, thank you for. But yeah, so Santorini is fantastic, and it always like it's got like that little hint of theme. It's very abstract. Another one I thought of was like Summoner Wars. I don't know if you ever played Summoner Wars.
Yep.
That's got like an abstract strategy, but you're like, kind of armies. Like I haven't played it in a while, but I thought that game is awesome, or I think that game is awesome. Yeah, and go ahead.
I was going to say, it's been a minute since I played Summoner Wars as well, but I do remember that, abstracty element. Yep. One I wanted to throw out there was Project L. I love Project L, but I was like, I want to include the list, but really there's no theme. You're just building puzzles. Like there's no theme, it's an engine builder tile lane thing. I'm like, there's got to be a theme. And I was like, there isn't. So I couldn't put it on a list, but I love it anyways.
Yeah. And they have a new one that company and maybe designer, I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, that's right. What was it called? Yeah, I just saw it. Yeah, you're right.
It's a little different, but it looks the same to the point where I was at a game event and someone had an early copy of it, and everybody who walked by was like, "Oh, is that like the Project L game?" Because like when you see it, you'll be like, "Okay, it's in the same family." I think it might be same designer, definitely same publisher.
Yeah. And I know it's like instead of polyomino pieces, they give you just like little blocks, and then you're making the shapes themselves, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's like a little different. But another one that I picked up when I was in France, and I need to translate it, I was hooked because it was pitched to me as similar to War Chest.
Oh, nice.
It's a new game from Studio H called Leaders, and I haven't played it yet.
Okay.
The box is bigger now that we're on this talking about box has.
Yeah.
The box is bigger, but it has like this drawer that you slide to take your pieces out. It looked nice, so it was worth the suitcase space for me to get it. And the fact that I'm going to have to get the English rules online because I had to have it while I was in France. But but anyway, Ruel, it has been like really fantastic talking to you. And
likewise, Candace.
Yeah, it's like every time I talk to you, I'm like, what a delight Ruel is.
Thank you. That is so kind of you, Candace, and I really do appreciate you having me on. You are a wonderful person doing wonderful things in this space.
Oh, thank you.
I really do appreciate what you do. And anytime we want to talk about games, and actually anytime you want to play games, we need to do that. Let's get some games off our shelves of shame.
Yes, we need to play some games together.
For sure.
For real. Because I think it's like we both stay so busy that we don't get to see each other, but it'd be really fun to play some games together.
Yeah. We'll hopefully in the state of California rather than some other state we end up being in, right?
You're gonna have to fly to Essen and
right, yeah. I'll see you in Europe.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Ruel, take care, and thanks again. Keep up the good work, and tell Becca I said hey next time you see her.
Will do. Thanks, Candace. Much appreciated.
You've been listening to the Board Game Geek podcast, produced and edited by Candace Harris. Special thanks to Matt Fonda for editing and mixing our music. Be sure to visit us on the web at BoardGameGeek.com. You can also find us on YouTube, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch under Board Game Geek. You can reach us by email at podcast@BoardGameGeek.com. Thanks for listening and happy gaming!